Good back there? Well, it's great seeing everybody. Obviously, we're in the middle of finals, and our guys are finishing up strong. Should get all those final reports probably no later than Thursday. But initial reports, our guys are doing really well, and that's a good thing. Obviously, the news of the day, I think I've been the most popular guy in coaching because Coach Collins we're really excited about the opportunity for him and his family at Temple. It's a place that's really done a great job, and he'll carry that on. He's a guy that's meant a lot to us. As you guys know, one of the first guys that I hired, and yet he's not the only one that's been on our staff that's been contacted, and yet that's kind of cool. People take a note as far as what we're doing and how we're going about it. So I'm really excited for him moving forward. Obviously, it just kind of happened. And as a coach, you prepare for these things no matter who it is. Come on, we're good. That's all right. I know I was a little early. I've already been reprimanded. So sorry about that. But no, obviously as a coach, you make plans for all your guys should something happen, and we've got some things already in the works. But in the meantime, we'll kind of visit with Jeff, see as far as the bowl plans moving forward, how that's going to work, and I'll be able to let you know that as we meet on Monday, I guess, right? So, but I will say this: I'm really excited those opportunities, and then it's an opportunity for us as well, and that's something that you always look to do, and we've got a plan moving forward. So we're excited for him. Kind of going into it from an injury standpoint, as we hit practice. We're going to kind of get started tomorrow a little bit with meetings and some initial things. We got some guys, like I said, finishing up some finals, so that's a big piece right now. But going into practice as of right now, Antonius Clayton will be out with that arm. As of right now, Nick Washington, Brian Cox, Jared Davis, Martez Ivy, Duke Dawson will be out. Moving over here, probably the one that is new, David Reese, had a wrist deal from the last game, so he'll be out, which obviously makes us thin at linebacker where we were already. And yet, next guy up, we'll step some guys in there and start working some of those pieces there as we get going for the bowl game. We're really excited about the opportunity to be in Tampa. It's something that, the word on the street out there in our league is this is a great bowl for the fans, for the teams. They do it right. Just at the whatever they call that stuff, kickoff deal. It was pretty cool getting a picture with the blooming onion and the coconut shrimp gal. That I kind of like that. That was kind of neat. And obviously Outback's a great sponsor and one that's been with that bowl for a long, long time, and that's what makes it special. These sponsorships kind of jump around a little bit, and that's one that's been constant and should be really good. We're going to practice full go starting Thursday, moving ahead, take Sunday off, get back, do some real more extensive work on Iowa Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, take a break for Christmas, and then we'll get them back on the 26th. So that's kind of the plan moving forward. Somebody asked, kind of routine of how we're going to do it. Would it be similar to last year? Well, we don't have the bodies to really do that, so we're going to have to, do a good job of getting what we need to get done, making sure we're in shape, and getting ready to go win a ball game. It'll be interesting to see some of the guys that are kind of, getting ready for the NFL, their mindset moving forward. We're going to need those guys to play as Gators and give everything they have. And, I think about when I first took this job and you saw what Dante Fowler did in that Birmingham Bowl. I don't know how many sacks he had, 5 maybe, 6, 3.5, a couple fumble. I mean, here's a guy that knew he was going to be, a top round draft choice, and yet chose for his team to go out there and play his tail off. I was so impressed with that. And you know what, we're going to need that kind of effort with our guys as well. And time will tell as we move from there. So I think that should be it. Any questions?
You mentioned the guys going to the NFL. I think last year you called the performance embarrassing in the Citrus Bowl. How do you prevent those guys from thinking ahead, and how do you get them ready to play?
Well, I think the big piece, it's a personal choice, and we're going to prepare to go win the ball game, and we need those guys to play well, play with energy, and to give us an opportunity to go win it. And that you move forward, and really it's an individual choice by each one of those guys.
Did you have a sense of that before the game last year, that maybe some guys hadn't invested totally? Maybe.
No.
Who is the next man up at linebacker with Reese and Jerry Davis out?
Right. Well, that's an interesting one. But Richard, obviously, Beauchamp will play a ton, sure. And he's been playing. Moving forward there. Richard, obviously, Kylan KC, who's been a little bit dinged up, but he'll be ready to go. Obviously, D-Mac's got to play a huge role in this game for us to be successful.
And then secondly, I was just trying to get your thoughts on Lane Kiffin, Charlie Strong, Butch Davis, really kind of...
That's pretty cool. I know it is. I mean, guys that deserve jobs, and I know Butch was trying to get back in. I'm excited for him down there, and obviously, his understanding of recruiting, especially South Florida. I think that's really good. Lane's got a lot of experience down here, and I've talked to Charlie already. I can't tell you this is one of the best guys in the business, and I'm really excited for Charlie and what he can bring for them.
But does it make it harder for inside the state, more competition, and certainly outsiders to come in and try to recruit? Those are pretty good recruiters, right?
Yeah, but with the University of Florida, I don't think that we always recruit against the same guys, sure. And yet each program's got to decide what fits them as well.
And one last one on that. All 7 guys in the state of Florida now, FSU, Florida, Miami, FAU, FIU, UCF, and USF, either won a national championship as a player, or as an assistant coach, or as a head coach.
Wow. How about that?
Does that say something about the talent you guys have amassed here in the state? And also, I was just wondering, do you throw that ring out on the recruiting trail?
They're aware of what we've accomplished, the places we've been, and even what we accomplished in such a short time at Colorado State. They're aware of the direction we're headed, and really there are a lot of people, a lot of those recruits see the opportunity here just based on where we're at, from a numbers standpoint. And yet, this Florida brand is something special. There should be a lot of good coaches at the schools in this state, just because they're jobs people want, and a big piece of that is because of the talent pool that's in this state. Yeah.
Coming off 2 tough losses, how important is it to gain some momentum to carry into the offseason?
Well, I think the big thing for us is first of all, getting back to work and giving ourselves an opportunity to to go out and be successful, and yet, we got to be aware too of not killing our guys that we do have left to be able to go play the game moving forward. It's always great anytime you go out and compete, it doesn't matter what it is to go get a win. That's the object.
And all those guys that are hurt, are they out for the bowl game or out for the start of practice?
Well, we'll see. I mean, just looking at them, I'll know more on Monday. It's hard to say. I mean, some of them are, high ankles. Hopefully they're shrinking to low ankles, but, we'll see.
Yeah, unfortunately, I missed the photo op with the blooming onion.
It was awesome.
It sounds great.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
but so what?
He got a little nervous when I started picking the petals.
They feed us this stuff in the press box. We get steak at halftime, so
Really?
that's pretty good. We like that ball game.
Okay. Wow.
So what went into the thinking? I know you were toying with quarterback options to go to Austin.
Well, number one, Luke isn't all the way back yet either, but Austin's done a good job. He's studied the plan. Obviously, there's some throws that he'd like to have back, but at the same time, this late in the year, he deserves it, and you know what? I'm excited for him to go play in this game. Another opportunity, for him to help this team win.
And you will not burn a red shirt.
Well, I mean, I hope moving forward that we don't lose those guys, right? But, the third guy up has got to be ready to go.
And one other question, you've been around teams with a lot of depth and competition. The running back position specifically here
Yeah.
started out with 4 guys.
Yeah.
What does it say to you when one of them ends up transferring and another one seems to be getting kind of losing his focus, let's say, off the field?
Sure. I think, that's one of those positions that a lot of people, you look historically here, you go all the way to Emmett. It's a pretty coveted position to be the running back at Florida. And so there'll be always a lot of competition there. And, going into the game, we'll, go with who's there, and those guys will do a good job.
Back to the Jeff Collins thing.
Yeah.
Is Randy Shannon, he's a co-defensive coordinator for you guys, is he in the discussion potentially?
Absolutely. We've got a lot of options, and we've already discussed them here. Obviously, this isn't the first time Jeff's name's come up, or Nuss's name, or Randy's name, or Coach Rump's name, Tim Skipper's name. So we're planning for all those scenarios.
And then the NCAA, I guess, is going to, I guess there's a proposal going through in April to potentially have a 10th assistant coach added. What are your thoughts on
that's
that?
actually all wrapped in right now to kind of a whole big
Right.
piece of legislation that actually has to do with early signing,
Sure.
summer camps. It's like this whole big list, and it's interesting how this works. I think it probably a little bit like government, like, hey, let's throw this little thing in. Maybe we get some people to bite on some of the other stuff or whatever, right? But it's obviously something that has been proposed. We're obviously 100% behind, whatever we can do in that standpoint. And yet, the way I understand it, it's reviewed in January, voted on in April or May or something like that before they ever put it into being able to do it, which may come as early as August of 2017.
Is that something you're in favor of?
Yeah. Are you?
I think it makes sense.
I mean,
When you got 85.
Yeah, no, you think about it, your roster, we'll travel 100 people down, players down to the bowl things, and there's some sports that I think have like one guy for every 2 people, or maybe one, I don't know. But here's the one really good thing here is obviously, Scott's allowing us as well, some of the off-field roles to be able to, keep enhancing those, to help you in that piece as well.
Ryan.
You said Luke's still working his way back, but looking ahead to next year, what do you see as his role and his place in that quarterback picture?
Well, hopefully we can get him healthy and come back and, be ready to go. That's what we're hoping.
Are you looking at an open competition between him and the freshman, or?
Absolutely. I mean, every year it is. That doesn't change. And that would be going through spring and, summers and obviously fall. Yeah. All right? No. Oh, you're all right. It's not the end of the world. It's okay.
So,
Yeah.
so this enhancing off the personnel staff, off the field kind of staff, vis-a-vis recruiting, I mean, how deep is that staff of yours? How deep do you want it to be? I know you came from Alabama where they have a tremendous amount of people working up profiles constantly and doing all this stuff.
Right.
What are you looking for there?
It's obviously something we got to constantly look to enhance and get better at. The one thing in the world of recruiting is it literally changes as fast as, social media changes today, right? I mean, it constantly is evolving. So, that's something that Jeremy was good about, and Scott's been great. And as we sit down here after this bowl game and kind of show that org chart and where it's at, we'll continue to enhance that as we go.
And back to the running backs, Jordan's decision, did that surprise you?
Guys aren't happy sometimes with whatever, for whatever reason. And as you know, we're doing everything we can to make sure he finds what he wants. He was a great asset to the program. We'd love to have him stay, but obviously he wanted to move on. So, we'll help him do that.
And does Mark Thompson have any repercussions from his latest incidents?
Yeah, we're made aware of that. I've got to kind of find out exactly where that sits, moving forward. But obviously we're aware that there was an incident here last week or whatever. Yeah.
Anybody definitively has declared for the NFL that you want to share
No,
with
not
us?
definitively. And, what we did do is obviously we sent out, all the things that we could to the NFL for those guys. We put those booklets together. We'll sit down and meet with some of them after the bowl game as far as a direction as to what they want to do and just give them the information. Not talk them in, talk them out. That's not it. Just make sure that they're well informed so their handlers and their families kind of know at least what's out there. And yet, it's not written in stone either once you even get those reports. It was interesting when we had a former GM come and speak to our team just about how this works. And the one thing they it's always interesting to me is, how hard they work from here on out for the combine. And yet the number one thing that the league looks at is what you put on film. That's the number one evaluator. And in his case, over 75% of what they did with their draft was all based on how a guy played on film. So this is another opportunity for those guys to play well against a really good football team, a physical football team. Another opportunity to be proud of what you put on film. All right, guys. Thanks. Appreciate it.